We're going to load the report, and you can see we've got this report loading now. You can download this as a PDF, so you can get all this information as a PDF that you could just take away with you and do as you need to, you know. So so we said the alignment score, as we said, we felt that it was actually a pretty good fit. What it pulled through was pretty accurate, really, on some of the initial information. So, you know, the intent alignment was pretty good, the audience fit was good, the content coverage was pretty good, you know, the overall score. So we're rating that quite high in all these areas because we basically said that it matched quite well. However, we can do some improvements on all of this. So looking at this further, we've got understanding your report. So the overview here really just gives us the quick sort of explanation of what to do on the page and how where all the bits are, what all this means. So this is just basically a little walkthrough kind of thing here. So you can look at that at your own will and actually see what's going on and just understand how this report is kind of structured. So that's what that's really giving you. So the content analysis side of here is pretty much all the things that we pulled out from the initial report. So we've pulled out all this information here. We even got our sort of page structure. So we can have a look at the page structure, what we had. I mean, I'm not sure why that's saying Nick there. Maybe that's just, I don't know why that's there. Maybe that's a person that's on the page. But it's not looking that great in terms of their structure here. And we've got lots of H1s. Look at this. They've got H1, 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 H1. So whoever's designed this has not really considered their SEO at all, really. So, you know, no joining free's got a H3 at the top. Well, that's not going to help them at all with regards to their sort of on-page SEO, really. So, in their local SEO, it's just, you know, that's just poor design. But anyway, so that needs fixing, sort of thing. So, so the overall structure here. So we get to see that, which is really, really insightful. That's really good to have. So we've got that. We've got our keyword analysis. You know, we pulled up our primary, our secondary, our short tail, our long tail keywords, which was great. We've sort of noted what our, you know, keyword density is. We've looked at our metrics, general sort of content quality metrics. So, you know, it's saying it's 850 words. Okay, that's pretty good, really, what's there when it's pulled out. But the general benchmark for a site would really be about 1200 words. So they're a bit short on what they could do there. And there's 3 headings in there. So, but as we know, there's a bit of work to do on all of that. So that's interesting sort of things that we pulled out already. So these are things that this company could really, you know, benefit from for making some changes. We're looking at the target audiences, which we know here, which we pulled out already, and their main sort of pain points and that kind of stuff, the demographics and user intention and stuff like that. So we pulled out all that little bit of information, and then we've got their sort of user intent sort of analysis, which is how the sort of the report aligns with their own personal intention, what they actually aimed for what they're actually aiming for. So they're saying that this is pretty good. So we want to go further into that as well. So what we really want to do is, yes, this stuff here, the content analysis, keyword analysis, targets, and user intent, they really just give us the insights of what we've already kind of covered already. So it's kind of, you know, this is the final report, you know, of everything. So so we can look a bit more at our competitive landscape, as we've sort of told you already. It's a subscription-based gym service. You know, fitness and health clubs is the industry that it sits within, and there's all these competitors. And of course, if you have other competitors that you want to add into this, you can do by just adding those in there as well. The same again with similar sites. So here are the similar sites that there are. And again, if you've got others that you want to add into your report, you could just add those in manually if you wish to. So the most important stuff now is looking at the recommendations, the optimizations, and strategic insights. Those are the really key areas that we feel that we can try and help you sort of, you know, do a better job on your website. So that's what we're going to look at here. So what we're going to look at, it says strengthen your join now call to action with urgency and a benefit. So locate a prominent join now button currently positioned above about. Change the button join now to join now, no joining fee, limited offer. Well, there's just, yeah, well, that needs to be looked at really. So we got things like that, you know, emphasize the 24/7 access, you know, clarify free classes, you know, and integrate location specific testimonials or quick facts and things like that. So straight away, we're giving you a number of recommendations that you can apply to the page to try and help inform your users, really speak to them a little bit more, give them more intention, more reason to buy, more reason to pick up the phone and come to you, so that's there. We're looking at optimizations. So let's have a little look at what this pulls out for us. So a few headline suggestions, pump gyms, unlock 24/7 fitness, no joining fee, free classes and saunas. It's pulled out a couple of different high impact call to actions, which is really good headlines there. So something a little bit different for them to maybe consider with regards to their website, what they can actually pop in there. So that's really helpful. Copy improvements. So, change this line to discover a whole new approach to your fitness journey at Pump Gyms. So this is, just giving you some suggestions. You don't have to do all of this, but it's just suggestions. Again, it's always suggestions. We're just trying to give you some ideas about what you could do, some insights to what we've seen through the platform to what you might want to consider doing. It's like having a team with you and saying, right, there's the website. What do we need to do with it now? Or what can we change? What are we missing? What's missing in our messaging and things like that. So this is what this whole tool really helps you with, which is perfect. So, we got structural improvements, which we said there was a whole load of H1s all the way down the page, which is obviously quite wrong. That needs fixing and changing. And our call to actions, we need to look at that, It's just lots of things here that it's pulled up, so which is great. And other things that we've got then, so strategic insights as well. For some reason that's not pulled that out, so we'll look at that and try and maybe rerun the analysis and see why that particular one is not being pulled out. But so the other things that we can do aside from all of these sort of insights and recommendations is we can then look at other tools that we've built into it. So let's look at some marketing opportunities. So we've got our insights, we've got our recommendations and things like that. So let's look at some marketing opportunities. So if we generate marketing ideas here, we can come into this, we'll let that run. It takes a few moments for it to go through. So the AI is basically looking at marketing strategies and seeing what we can pull out. So it's saying routes to market. So what can we do? So online fitness communities and forums. Yeah, you can do that as a route to market. Industry websites and directories. So look at, so Google My Business. Are they on Google My Business? Would be worth looking at. Yelp, fitness industry directories and things like that across the country or in the local areas that they're trying to serve. So that would be really helpful if they looked at that. Social media marketing. So we could look at that. What are they doing on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter? As the messaging that you're trying to convey there, does it tie in with what you're trying to do on your website? Are the two in unison? You saying one thing in one platform and something totally different in another platform, or it's just worth sort of looking at those areas. And again, these are just, these are ideas, these are insights, these are things that you could possibly try. Establish Pump Gyms as a thought leader in the fitness industry by creating valuable content that extracts and engages potential members. So yeah, blog posts, workout routines, fitness tips, gym equipment guides, member spotlights, infographics, videos. There's so much that they could be doing on their website to really give more engagement, more reasons for people to sign up. You want to go in there and go, yeah, this looks like the gym for me. This is where I want to be. Is this speaking my language? Is it right? So content marketing, that's amazing things that it's given there. So partnerships and local collaborations. So expand your reach and tap into new audiences by partnering and complementary business and organizations. So look at local businesses, health food stores. It's a great idea. Physiotherapy clinics, corporate wellness programs, fitness influencers and bloggers, local sports teams and clubs. Reach out to these people and find out if your gym can benefit them or vice versa. Really speak to them and see what they feel, and if there's an opportunity. You get nothing from without actually speaking to people and going through actually talking to them. So as you can see, the marketing opportunities option here, which really pulled out a whole load of information that's it's gold really for ideas, especially for a small business, and you're trying to think, right, I've got my website, I've got my product, I've got my service, I've got everything kind of there, it's running, what more could I do? And this is the perfect tool to give you that information. So it's great. social media stuff. So we look at, we'll generate, get it up and running. So if this is obviously for the landing page. It's, giving you a LinkedIn post, a Facebook post, a Twitter, Reddit. Reddit is massive now. It's really, really good to look at that. We even include some Reddit subreddits, which is really good. You can put in some keywords and things like that you can, some hashtags and things that you could use for each of those posts. And we even provide a TikTok video ideas as well. So this has come up with a fast-paced montage showcasing various aspects of pump gyms, people working out, impressive gym equipment, and vibrant fitness class, and a sleek modern gym interior. End it with a call to action to visit the website and sign up. So, upbeat music, quick cuts, it's giving you a whole storyboard there, more or less, of what you could do in terms of a TikTok video. That you could break that down into lots of different TikTok videos, break it down into, right, this is our impressive gym equipment, and here's one of our personal trainers using it, and this is the personal trainer that's talking to one of the customers and how they're benefiting from it and how they're working out and enjoying the session. I think there's so much that you could do that would promote, your gym and how you're trying to reach and your intentional reach for and messaging for your potential customers. So that's really, really good. We're then going to just extra tools here. So let's have a look at the AI search visibility. So let's go in here. Now you might think, it's just a local gym, not worried about AI and all that kind of stuff. Well, it is important because people will type into these search tools, local gyms in my area and things like that, and the way that things are going, user intent, and the intention that the content and how you write that content is so important, for how you might be found within sort of AI platforms, your chat GPTs, your Perplexities, your Geminis, your Google, everything that's the way that it's going, is super important to just sort of have the AI world sort of, it's worth tapping into. You must tap into it, really. Don't ignore it and just think, well, I'm a gym, so it doesn't apply to me, because actually it does apply to you, and it will apply to you as it go forward. So, which is great. So we can look at this. We look at our strengths and our weaknesses. So areas for improvement, so the strengths for this for AI visibility, so it's clear and descriptive titles, strong emphasis on key selling points, good inclusion for location specific information. It's well organized, reasonably, other than some of the, the site structure. But, so what have we got in here? Areas for improvement. So lack of structured data markup. So there's no schema for the gyms or local business. Absence of dedicated FAQ sections to directly answer common user queries. Well, that's really important. Having a dedicated FAQ really plays into the hands of how the sort of AI search visibility is going. So that's, if that was my website, I'd be thinking, right, I need to, have a team of people that are writing these FAQs, and they don't take long to actually write. It's just about investing some time to get it done. So that to me is super important, and it's a key thing. It's really lacking in this area. So content could be more conversational and directly address potential user questions, as AI search does. So that's, again, things that you need to do, how to change, what can you write, what can you produce on your website to really sort of talk to your customer. Again, it's all about intention. It's like, intent lens, using a magnifying glass and really looking at what your intention is and trying to understand what you can change and what you can do, so and there's no clear internal linking strategy mentioned or evidence is provided at all. So you're not linking to various other contents within your website. So you're not, it's because you're not really creating lots of other content on there. It's quite basic, really, but you're not creating loads more content, so you can't link to lots of other content. Yes, you're linking to different areas and from your main page and all that kind of stuff, but you need to sort of improve that a lot more, in my opinion. So this isn't you're not a character assassinating this pump gyms, because that thing is actually a really lovely gym, and it's actually, it's nice to see local gyms that are really thriving and doing really well. So this is amazing. So I don't want pump gyms to be thinking that this is we're sort of being really sort of strict with them, but we're actually trying to help, and that's the purpose of the tool, is to actually help local businesses and established businesses, look at their intention and look at what they're trying to say. So it's not about picking fault on anything. It's about just helping, just giving you an insight, where to start, where to get going. Now, we mentioned about schema that's not been, there's no sort of lack of schema on there, so we actually even create a schema for you that you can sort of drop into your website. So you can copy that code and drop it into your website, and you've nailed that section already. There's no work for you to do. You just need to drop that in and you've got that sorted. And obviously, if you were doing this for different sort of pages within your website, so if you had what page all about Oxfordshire or Buckinghamshire or whatever, you'd add your schema accordingly to that. So this, it will generate that for you, which is absolutely amazing. That's a sort of free nugget there, which is great. So and obviously we give you a little bit of a visual about what it might look like in some of the AI search results. I mean, it's a visual kind of thing here, but there's no guarantee that it will look like that in any of the AI tools. This is just hypothetical kind of thing here. But anyway, you can see where that's going. So we'll then move on to web page tracking analysis. So looking at here now, because I don't own this company, I have no access to the source code of this particular website. I can't show this in any real detail. We've added the tracking to it, but because I don't have the source code, like I say, I can't physically add that script to their website to track this information. But what it will do is when it's done, we'll run the report, but it will come back with no real data at all on here for tracking, because it just can't track nothing. But it will probably say 0 activity there across all key metrics, blah, blah, blah. And that's because it's just not been included. But what it would do, it would sort of give us a bit of a performance summary. It would tell us our user engagement, so we give it traffic source insights, and it will tell us about our bounce rate, pages per session, our traffic quality, our time on the page, conversion opportunities. So given the complete absence of data, it's going to find that very hard to sort of do that. And some optimization recommendations, so, verify and implement a robust web analytics tracking code. So that needs to be done in there, really. Have they got Google Analytics and all that kind of stuff built into their page? There's loads of things that they could be doing in here, but obviously they've not got my tracking on here. We don't know if they've got Google Analytics pumped into it or anything like that. So we're just making some kind of sort of generic statements here without having that sort of data to really work off. But, bounce rate is super important, really. If your bounce rate is really, really high, then, people are just landing on your page and going again. They're not staying there. They're not reading the content. It's not what's called sticky. They're not staying around. They're not, going from one page to another and going, oh, that's interesting, that's helping me, that's not helping me. They're not reading content, so they're not very sticky in that sort of sense. They're not hanging around. So if your bounce rate is really high, it means your engagement is really, 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 really poor. If you're not engaging with your customers, it's probably because you're not giving them the right message. Your intention is not correct. So you need to work on your user intent, and that's what I would say that you need to do. So that was, this is where this sort of page really helps you. So that's really good. So you've got all your whole report there. So just by sort of, entering your URL for whatever, your blog post, landing pages, whatever, you can really drill down with this tool, and give us so much information, so much insights about that page and what you can do and improve. And it's just such a minefield of information. It's such a good resource to have. And, it's great for so many uses, so that gives you that there. Now the other thing that this report also does is we actually then provide a task list. So the task list basically looks at all of the sections within that report, and that they can be quite in depth, and I know that they can be a lot of information maybe to read, to look at and analyze, which is fine, because we want to give you data, we want to give you ideas and depth to your problems. We want to help you get more views, more paying customers, more visits. We want you to engage more with your audience, and that's what this is all about. So but what we do is we then create a little bit of an actionable task list, so as to help you kind of keep on track. So it's just, and again, you don't have to do these. This is just to help you sort of focus on what you might need to do next, So, so look at your optimizing your headlines. There's various ones here that it's come up with, your SEO analysis, what you might want to actually look at, optimize those, look at your pain points, review and identify the pain points. Are you actually doing that? Are there other pain points you think you could be adding in? So we give you a whole load of these things. And if you go through them here and you want to do whatever with them, go and read through them and decide you want to do that. If you're happy with them, just tick them off. Just say, yeah, that's done. That's done. You've gone through these. You're happy with all of this, so you've done it, you've worked on it, you're happy. It just keeps you on track, gives you a little idea of where you are and the things that you could be doing to help your website. And that's it really. So we'll close that off and you can see up here then. So we've got 7 of 19 completed. So there were 19 tasks in total that were generated and you've done 7 of them. So you've done pretty well. So that's great. So that gives you, that's the whole report really that you get. And that's kind of the core of what Intent Lens does. Although there are other tools, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But that's the core of how this sort of platform works and what information it gives you. So, and again, remember that you can download the PDF here, which gives you all of the insights, everything that's in the report, just as one sort of takeaway thing. So you want to take it to a meeting or whatever, you've got it there just to show people what you can do and improve on. So we'll go back to the dashboard and you can see we're back at the dashboard. Which is great. You can see here we've analyzed one URL, which is one we've just done. We've got our website tracking done. So let's look at some other areas on here as well, some other sort of things that we can look at that's really going to help us. So